Good morning and welcome to another session with Total Sports and Sports Science. My name is Nicolas Danieli and I'm a biokineticist at the Sports Science Institute of South Africa. Over the next 45 minutes, I will be running you through a football-focused training session. This session, however, isn't specifically or exclusive to footballers, but all team sports such as netball, hockey, rugby stand to benefit from this training exercise, as we're focusing on our hip health, our knee stability, and our ankle proprioception. Through the session, if you are able to complete all of the movements, that's great, keep pushing really hard, but for whatever reason, if you're unable to complete the movement or are experiencing pain, please do not push through this pain. If you are experiencing pain in your neck, shoulders, lower back, hips, knees, or ankles, please first consult your physiotherapist and complete their prescribed training sessions first. And as always, we always stress completing the movements with the correct technique. Please do not rush through any of the following movements. Perfect. The equipment that we'll be needing for today's session, firstly, an exercise mat. If you do not have an exercise mat, a large towel will work perfectly, as the aim of this is to just prevent you from working directly on the floor and provide a little bit of cushioning, especially for your lower back. Second piece of equipment that you need for today's session is a small weight. I'm using a 3 kilogram dumbbell, but a filled water bottle or a 5 liter water bottle, kettlebell for example, will work perfectly. The third thing you'll need would be a small step. Anything that is roughly knee height or just below that is perfect. If you do not have a step at home that is readily available to you, something like a sturdy chair or a couch would be a perfect alternative, as long as it is strong, stable, and there's no risk of it slipping out away from you. The last thing for today's session would be a glider. So I've got myself one of the floor gliders, as you can see here. If you do not have one of these, as long as you have socks on a sliding surface, for example, tiles or whatnot, that would be a perfect alternative. Beginning with our warm-up, we just want to wake up the body and start to activate the muscles. So all we're going to do, running on the spot, nice spring in the step, trying to stand upright. Start to wake up those calves, especially at the bottom, nice spring in the toes. From now already, I want you to start focusing on your breathing and your heart rate. Be aware of what your body's telling you. Almost there. And relax. We're going to start by opening up the hips. So first left foot, nice big circle, 2 steps to the left, nice big circle to the right, 2 steps to the right. Keeping it going. Still keeping that spring in the step. Last couple. Moving into our high knees, running sideways along our mat, and back. Try to stay as upright as possible still, get those arms involved. Nice deep breaths. Same movement, but now we're up at the back with our hamstrings. Kick your heels up to your butts behind you, staying up nice and tall. Last one out and back. And relax. Standing in front of your exercise mat, Just going to open up those hamstrings with some nice hamstring scoops. Straight leg out in front of you, weights on the back, scooping out in front, standing up tall. Switching legs, scooping underneath, standing up tall. Once you've reached the edge of your mat, all the way back. And last one. And relax. Perfect. Moving straight away into our activation stations first. Our first exercise is going to be an isometric kickback partnered with knee flexion. So the aim of this is to activate the glutes and the hamstrings. So I'm going to get onto my hands and knees. My hands are going to be shoulder width apart, directly underneath my shoulders. My knees are going to be hip distance apart, directly underneath my hips themselves. Core is nice and engaged, back is flat. From here, I'm going to kick out one leg at a time, so I'm going to use my right leg first. Straight back behind me, so there's a nice straight line. If we lift too high, our lower back is going to arch. So just kick it straight back behind so that your knee and your hip is extended. Holding this position, flex the knee to 90 degrees, and back down nice and slowly. 5 on each side. Making sure that your hips are in line and that you're not opening up your hips to the side. Both are facing the ground. Switch sides. One more. And back in. We're going to stand up onto our feet and find a nice sturdy wall next to us. We're going to get down into our lunge position. So toe at the back, flat foot in front, and my outside leg. So the leg furthest away from the wall, that's the one that's going to be in front. 90 degrees to the ankles, knees, hips for both legs. Back is nice and straight, so I'm going to place both hands touching each other, facing straight in front of me. Everything is in a nice straight line. Lifting that back knee off of the ground slightly into an isometric lunge. Opening up your outside hand, open up your chest as far as you can go, and back. 5 on each side. Driving through that front heel to keep you up. That's 5, and switch directions. Back into your lunge on the ground. Outside leg is forward. 90 degrees in the joints. Nice straight back. Hands facing in front of us. Lift that back knee off the ground slightly. And opening up the chest. Make sure you keep it nice and controlled. Don't just bounce off the end. Last one. And relax. Moving into our third exercise will be our hamstring walkouts. This one is primarily focusing, as the name suggests, on our hamstrings. Lying flat onto our back, heels are dug into the ground, bending our knees out in front of us. From here, I like to keep my hands out to the side for a bit of balance, but you're going to roll your pelvis back so that that hollow in your back is pressed against the floor. Drive up into your bridge. And this is your start and finishing position. Always keeping this gap underneath you. Slowly walking out as far as you are comfortable, as long as you're always leaving a slight bend in your knees when you get to the end. So from here, Cores engaged, hips are level, walk out as far as you're comfortable. Walking it back in 5 times. Nice small steps. Focusing on squeezing your glutes and those hamstrings. Keep those hips up. Last one. And drop it down. That concludes our activation part of our session today. Moving now on to our mobility section. First one is going to be a squat into an overhead reach. So for that, we're going to be onto our exercise mat. Feet are going to be slightly wider than our hips, slightly wider than a normal squat position. Toes are pointing out to the sides, and our knees are always following in line with our toes. Sitting backwards with our hips onto our heels, we're going to go down to a full squat at the bottom. So keeping my back straight, nice and wide, all the way down to the bottom, like so. You're already going to feel a stretch through your groin and your hips. I like to keep my elbows just touching on the inside of my knees. And what you're going to do is nice and slowly and controlled, reach up to the ceiling, back down, preventing your knees from caving in. If you struggle to get that low, into a half squat, just reaching up to the ceiling and down. Alternating left and right, 5 on each side, 10 in total. Last one. And relax. For the next one, we're going to be doing 90-90 hip rotations. So we're going to be sitting down onto our mat. We're going to be rotating from one side to the other side. So again, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. Slower and more controlled is what we're looking for. So set yourself in your initial position, sitting with your knees and ankles at 90 degrees. Hips are also at 90 degrees. Sitting up nice and straight, arms out in front. As we rotate, we're lifting our knees up to the right, pivoting onto our heels. Keep your balance over to the right side. If you aren't in a perfect position, that's all right. Just reshuffle yourself so that you're all at 90-90. Sitting up nice and straight, arms back out. Halfway. Last one to the right. Keep that control. Don't rush. And relax. The last exercise in our mobility section, we back up onto our feet. This one is going to be a sumo stretch down to the bottom with an overhead squat on the way up. As the name suggests, our feet are going to be in our sumo position, slightly wider than our normal squat position, slightly wider than hips. Toes are pointing slightly out to the side, and again, our knees are always going to be following in line with our toes. Starting off, nice and tall, hands are naturally in front of you. You're going to roll down. Feel that stretch through your lower back and your hamstrings. Once we get our fingers down to the floor, we're going to drop our hips down into a squat, keeping these knees in line with our toes. Fingers are still touching the ground. From here, one arm up into a Y, standing straight up. Reset, 5 in total. Slowly rolling down into a stretch. Fingers touching the floor. Sit back with your hips into that squat. Keep your knees nice and wide. One arm up, 2 arms up. Standing up tall. 3 more. Last one. Keep that control, don't rush the movement. Keep balance. And up. If you need to, you can grab a sip of water. We've just finished our mobility section. Next, we're going to be moving on to our stability section. Our final 2 sections will be stability and then finishing off with strength. We're now going from 1 set of 5 to 3 sets of 5. So moving into our stability, our first exercise is going to be our single leg hip hinge with an alternating reach with our weight. So we're going to grab our weight. I'm going to run you through our single leg hip hinge. Standing on one leg, just like if you're doing a deadlift, working in that hip hinge pattern. Small bend in the knee. Pushing my hips backwards, hinging in the hips so that my chest is now facing the ground. You should feel that stretch in your hamstring, then you know you're on the right track. Try to keep your hips facing straight forward, and as you go down, don't let them open up to the side. Hips and shoulders in a nice straight line. So from here, you're going to grab the weight in one hand, hinging with that single leg, keep that back and core tight, back straight. Reaching slightly in front of your shoulders from the left side, staying in that hip hinge pattern, out to the right. Keep your balance, out to the left, out to the right. So it's 5 on each side on that same leg, so it's 10 transitions in total. Then you move on to the other leg. Last one. And switch sides. Should feel it into that glute, down running into that hamstring. Switch legs. So start up straight, small bend in the knee, hinging that hip backwards. So I'm working my left leg now. Back straight, hinge in the hips. Other leg is behind for balance. Now we reach. Keep your balance, don't rush your movement. Last one. And relax. You can drop the weight down. Next exercise is called a leaning fall. So the idea is that we are going to be standing up in triple extension. So our knees, hips and ankles are going to be extended. Arms are reaching up out above us. Nice and tall. We're going to be leaning forward with a straight body. As we're going forward, we're naturally going to fall forward in front of us. But now we're working on our landing mechanics and absorbing all of that load. So nice, quick, reactive movement. So from standing up nice and tall, landing in that squat technique, feet are hip distance apart, knees are bent, absorbing the load, arms are back, absorbing with that glute. Standing up and resetting. So in real time, up onto the toes, and reset 5 times. So don't rush the initial phase. Two more. So try not to jump into that fall as you're going up. Just lean forward, allow your body to fall, and you're catching yourself. And relax. The last of the 3 movements in our stability, and we're going to go back to the front, is going to be our ski jump into our vertical hop. So it's a 2-part movement. Breaking it down into the first movement will be a small ski hop. So if I'm starting with my outside leg into a running position, so small bend in the knee, small bend in the hip. My left leg is forward, you're always running with your right arm in front. So from here, small hop to the right, absorb the load, small hop to the left. That's our ski hop into our vertical hop. Driving from your back knee, extending that hip, coming up, springing off that toe, and landing back down. That counts as 1. You're doing 5 on each leg. So there back hop, 5 times, moving on to the other side. Rather slow the movement down, keep your balance. Once you're comfortable with it, you can speed it up. And switch sides. And relax. That's 1 set. 2 more sets of the same exercises, starting with our single leg hip hinge, alternating reach. Single leg, hinging back in that hip, hips and shoulders are facing straight down, feeling that stretch in the hamstring. 10 transitions. Switch legs. Three. Eight, last 2. And down. Dropping the weight into our 5 leaning falls. Onto the toes, nice and tall. Leaning forward. Quick catch. Make sure those knees are in line with the toes. Don't let them cave in. Move out to the side. Last one. And relax. Into the ski jumps. Keep it up, keep going, keep going. Nice, spring in the step. When exploding up, try and get nice and vertical, standing up nice and tall. Get that spring off the step and absorb again, nice soft landing. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Last one. And relax. Moving into our final set. Single leg hip hinge. Keep going, keep going. Switch sides. Now, especially that we're getting tired, make sure that knee isn't wobbling side to side. Try to keep it in line with those toes. Last one. And switch. Last time is for the leaning force. Nice quick movements, nice quick movements. Arms up above the head, onto the toes, leaning forward, and react. Reset. Onto the toes. Standing tall. Landing flat, feet in front of you. 2 more. Last one. And relax. Last time with the ski jumps. Keep it going, keep it going. Last one. And switch. Almost there. And relax. Well done. Grab a sip of water. Going to move on to our final station, which is strength. So moving on to our strength section, our first exercise is going to be an alternating isometric hip thrust. This is where we're going to grab our step or your sturdy chair that's not going to slide out, or your couch. We're going to sit down in front of it. Our heels are going to be pressed into the floor, and we're going to have our knees bent. We want our shoulder blades to press onto the edge of our step or chair, like so. So just the edge of our shoulder blades. So I'll sit a little bit forward. You can feel this edge. Arms are going to be out to the side for balance, and you relax in your head. So don't tuck your chin in the entire time. Let it relax on the back. Heels are going to be hip distance apart, driving our heels into the ground, lifting our hips up to the ceiling. Like so, up into our hip thrust or bridge position. Make sure you set in this position, you're squeezing your hamstrings and your glutes, not too much in your lower back. Driving through one heel, I'm going to lift the other leg up to 90, and back. Keep that heel pressed into the ground. We're alternating 5 on each leg, 10 in total. Making sure your hips aren't dropping or moving side to side. And relax. Our next exercise is going to be a kneeling double step up. So now we are going to be kneeling in front of our step, like so. Chest is up in front of us, knees, ankles and hips, 90 degrees. In our running position, we're going to be doing 5 on each leg, up nice and tall, driving through our front heel, coming up. That's 1 step, up, flat foot onto the chair or step. 2 step, driving that knee up. So that's your finishing position. On the way down, hinging at that hip, soft landing on the toe, back down into our kneeling position. So all the way up, all the way down, counts as 1. Finish it all 5 on the one leg, then we're moving on to the other leg. Initially, nice and slow to get the movement. Once you're comfortable with it, you can be a little bit more explosive. So it's a step, step, pause, step back, and down. Last one on my left. And switch legs in front from the bottom. An idea of it being a little bit quicker, to be standing up so, it'll be 1, 2, 3, step, step. Pause that position, make sure you stick the landing, control on the way down. 3, 2, 1, step, step, and control on the way down. Last one. And relax. The last one, I'm going to be using my glider. Again, if you have something that allows you to slide onto the floor safely, for example, your socks on a tiled surface, that's what we're going to be using. If you don't, we're just going to be reaching out, touching, and coming back if you only have a carpet, for example. So for myself, one foot is going to be onto the glider. This leg always stays straight. My other leg is the leg that I'm going to be squatting down onto, putting my weight through that heel. So for example, standing up like so, this leg straight out gliding, sitting backwards onto this hip, onto that heel, getting down nice and low, keeping that knee over the toe, standing up on this heel, pulling this leg in whilst it's straight, 5 on each side. And switch sides. Rather do the movement nice and slow. Get your technique. Make sure you're sitting backwards with your hip. Don't let that knee pass too far over your knee. It's alright if it's directly over or slightly in front, as long as you're sitting back into that position and your knee isn't excessively going forward. And relax. One set down, 2 to go. Keep it going. If you need a sip of water, just power through the last 2. Alternating hip thrusts. Shoulder blades onto the edge of the chair, arms out for balance, driving through the heels. Nice straight line up, relaxing the neck. Drive through the heel, keep the hips up, 90 degrees. 5 on each leg. Last one. And safely down. Turning around into our step-ups. Kneeling position. Again, reset. Hips and shoulders always facing forward. Arms in our running position. Left leg's in front. Right arm is joining in front. Drive to that front heel. Step. Step. Drive the knee up. Standing nice and tall. Hold for a second. Control the way down. Back to the start. Keep it smooth, keep it controlled. And switch sides. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Number 4. Last one, keep it up. And relax. Into our glide outs. One foot onto the glider, straight leg, other leg bending back into our single leg squat. Sit back with the hips, onto the heel, drive that heel through, nice and strong up. If you're comfortable with the movement, as you're coming back up, a little bit more forceful, but don't glide too far out, and then you pull, stop, pull, stop, pull, stop. Nice and smooth out, nice and smooth in. Last one. And up. Moving into our last set. Catch your breath just before you begin. Let's finish strong, let's finish strong. Alternating hip thrusts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost there, 8, 9, and 10. Safety down. Into our double step ups. Last 5 on each side. Make sure you set, happy with your body position before you begin. 1, 2. Control down. 1, 2. Last one on the left. And switch. Last push. Focus on your body position. Fight the balance. Keep control. Last one up. Last time into the gliders. Last exercise, let's go. Three, 4, 5. Switching sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. And relax. Well done, everyone. Grab a sip of water, catch your breath. We're going to finish off with a stretch. First, we're going to open up the hip flexor stretch into our kneeling position again. My right leg is in front. Push through with my hips, keeping that back straight. My right leg is my right knee is onto the floor. Right arm goes over the head. Should be feeling it running down the outside, going in front over here, through your hip flexor down into your thigh. Staying in this position with your left leg forward, come back onto your hips, straighten out your left leg in front of you, keep your hips facing forward, nice straight back, just lean into your hamstring stretch in front. Relax in the back and you can put your hands on either side. Still keeping that left leg straight, but it's going to be out to the side for you. I'm just going to change to face you. So your hands are now in front, your left leg is out to the side, nice and straight. You're going to stretch all the way down the inside of your left leg. And sit backwards onto your right heel. Point your left toe up to the ceiling. Rotate your left toe back down to the floor. Walk it out forwards back again. Switching legs to the first stretch. Hip flexor stretch. Now my right knee's in front. Leading with the hips forward. If my left knee is now on the ground, my left arm goes over on top. You're going to stretch all the way down the left in front of that hip. Relax the hips, straighten out that right leg in front. Hips facing forward, back straight, just lean into the stretch. Relax the back, hands on each side. Keep that leg straight, out to the side of the body. Hands in front, feeling the stretch down the inside of your right leg. Sitting backwards onto your left heel. Rotate your right toe up to the ceiling. Rotate it back forward. Walk it out in front. Up into your push-up position. One foot over the other one. Drop that bottom heel down to the floor, stretching out your calves. Switching sides. And last one, sitting onto our mat with our legs out in front of us. Sitting up nice and tall, one leg over the other one. Nice big bear hug into your chest, stretching out that glute in front. Switch sides. And relax. Well done, everyone. Congratulations for finishing today's session. Thank you for joining Total Sports and myself, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.